Good day, world. Welcome to Be in the Moment. Today we are with Nitemarekhawk on Twitter. He is live on the streets of Miami attending the Web3 NFT conference. He is my dear friend here since April. We met in Miami at the Bitcoin conference after parties, and we are planning to speak about everything from video games all the way to CBDCs. But first, let's go straight to Nitemare and hear about his experience there at the conference. Welcome, Nitemare.
Thank you, Rory, for having me. It's a pleasure to be back on your podcast after a while. So just want to say that it's been great. Miami has been beautiful. It's amazing. The Web3 Summit for women has been amazing. Talked about NFTs. Talk about how NFTs can help in a lot of areas, Web3 as well, from mental health to video games to streaming to sports. BitBoy, I just saw BitBoy. He's there as well. He just gave a talk about social network influencers and things like that. Social influencers and things like that for crypto. It was a great debate. Yeah, so it was really. Go ahead.
Sorry, BitBoy. I think he's from Atlanta, right?
I believe so.
Yes. So did you see him as a person, or was he synonymous or pseudonymous?
No, he was there live in person.
Great.
On the stage.
So what was he like? What was he saying?
Well, he was talking about how he gets attacked all the time, for promoting FTX, for promoting all these other crypto scams and stuff. So if people attack him, he was talking about how we need to get rid of all that and all the attacks. Humans are allowed to make mistakes. I know I made my fair mistakes on my podcast as well, but I own them. So the thing is that there was a debate between him and this other woman. I think her name was Sophia, and they were having a live debate. And they had just put this together about 11 hours beforehand, because BitBoy wasn't even supposed to come. But then they called him to come. They had a little debate. It was very entertaining. It was very great. This is why I wanted you to come, Roy, because this is for women. This is Web3 Summit for women. Like, they have a giant banner, everything. That's why I was trying to get you to come.
I know. I remember you calling me out saying, come to Miami.
I'm one of the very few guys that's here. That's not a speaker. So, yeah.
Wow. So then what have the topics been? And who else have you seen?
Just a lot of different women speakers. Like I said, from climate change to DAOs, Twitter spaces to sports, women's sports in particular, to just a lot. Mental health. There's been a lot of talks. They have 3 different stages. They have workshops set up upstairs. So it's a very good event. Not a lot of people showed up. Like I said, it's mostly women. Most of the speakers were in the crowd as well. They're going to different stages in the venue. It's amazing. This is why I wanted you to come.
Thank you. Well, I'm so glad that you made it there. And, what are some of the reasons that you personally decided to attend? And what is the title of it again?
It's Web3 Summit for Women.
Web3 Summit for Women. Yes.
Yep.
So you are a big enthusiast of Monero, and you also are an enthusiast of the digital asset for entertainment or for, what is it for? Why are you interested in digital assets?
The number one reason I'm interested because we're heading to a digital age, and I'm very adaptable when it comes to changes in society. So the fact with crypto is I see it as a way to replace the fiat system or work alongside it. I don't think fiat will be here in the next 10 years. I think it will be all banned from society, period. Due to all the pandemics and things and viruses and stuff like that, it can spread through that. So I think they're going to end up banning cash across the globe. We're already seeing it.
What? Hey, slow down, buddy. Sorry. Okay, go on.
No, it's okay. CBDCs will be the new fiat system on a digital ledger. They're already working on it all across the globe. Every country in the world, I don't care what country you go to, they already have a plan for a CBDC. I think digital decentralized cryptos like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, BSV, Stellar, XLM, even XRP if you like that as well. I met some Tether maximalists yesterday. Actually, was a and not to cut this conversation short, but I just want to say real quick. I never knew there were a lot of Tether maximalists until yesterday. And so there were a bunch of women that stood up yesterday and said, we're all Tether maxis. The CEO of Tether was there yesterday. It was unbelievable. I have never met a Tether maxi in my life until yesterday. And I didn't even know that term even existed.
Right.
But yes, there are a bunch of women that have Tether meetups. They are Tether maxis. They believe nothing other than Tether is the only freaking crypto that should be on the blockchain. Bitcoin sucks to them. Every other crypto is a shitcoin in them. It's only Tether, and that's it.
Interesting. So they have found the printing machine, right? Because Tether just prints itself willy-nilly, right?
Yeah.
So they're in support of that.
Yes, they are.
And did they give any reason why they are so enthusiastic to be a so-called Tether maxi?
It's because they said that it reminds them of the fiat system, but they're in control of their own assets. They can take their dollars and put it into Tether rather than keep it in the bank because they own the asset. They have the private keys in their own wallet. And these are women from countries like not outside of the United States. So these are women that are in poor countries like Iraq, things like that. You know, so you don't want to trust a bank in those countries. You want to put your money in somewhere where you still own the asset, you have value. So that was the reason. And it's one of the most traded cryptocurrencies in the entire world is Tether.
Wow. Yeah, I've heard Satoshi on Satoshi TV talk about Tether. But, that's pretty much it. So that is amazing. You met these Tether maxis for the first time. And did you see any of your Monero fellows there? Were there some women that were from the Monero scene that also attended this event?
No Monero women were there at all. Most of them were Bitcoin, Tether, NFTs, Web3, things like that. They were creating their own tokens and stuff for like the stuff they were doing for like mental health, climate change, creating their own DAOs, things like that. They talked about Twitter Spaces a lot at all of the freaking talks so far. So they do a lot of Twitter Spaces as well. But I want to jump back to the CBDC because I didn't finish my thought. So
of course, yes. Welcome back.
So CBDCs ultimately is a controlled system. I mean, it gives the government across the globe more power than they've ever had in their entire history. So that's why they're going to push CBDCs. That's why the whole FTX thing is pretty much, I look at it as a PSYOP. Yes, it did happen, but it is a PSYOP, and they did bring that up at the Web3 Summit actually today about FTX. I knew FTX was a scam to begin with because I said, wait a minute, who the heck is Sam Bankman-Fried? Where the hell did he come from? And why the hell is he pushing like his token? We're like, dude, I've been in the scene since 2009. Like, who the hell are you? Like, anytime I see new people come into the space and they start talking, like if they know it all, I'm like, okay, I'm already skeptical. Something's wrong here. Like the media is pushing this person. They're getting all of this coverage. And I'm like, where the hell did you even come from? Like, so this is why, Rory, I know I've been seeing your post about CBDCs on BSV, but I hate to inform you, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. The governments already have their own blockchain. They've already been working on it. They already have the technology. They're not going to use BSV. I hate to kill all BSV's like hopes and dreams, but it's not going to happen. Governments are not going to work with you. They're just not.
Thank you for your opinion. And I know that you are not in favor of CBDCs at all. Is that correct?
Yeah, I hate CBDCs. They're the ultimate control mechanism for people. I mean, you want governments to have the authority to be able to tell you when you can and cannot spend, what and where and how to buy stuff? I mean, that's ridiculous.
And I did attend the N-Chain meeting. It was on a Twitter Spaces where they did bring up their CBDC solution. And the executive there that was answering questions, it was kind of a town hall session. I did ask him to that point because I was thinking of you and some of the people I know in my town that have expressed similar views. And he said that a great point, which we can realize, is that already the banks are digital and they can withhold our purchases. That already exists. So a CBDC would not change that.
I agree with that, but you still have the option to take your money out of the banks. With a CBDC, there is no way to opt out. You can opt out of a bank. You can literally get a crypto wallet and literally become your own bank. You can take your cash out of the ATM. A CBDC, there is no opting out. You're trapped. That's the only difference.
And with a bank, usually, we're making purchases online. So I know that this past few days, I have been attempting to make a purchase, and the bank that I use has continuously canceled the transaction because they say it is a fraud prevention. And I then call the phone number and enter the numbers with the automated system to say, I've made the choice to make this purchase. Please continue. And then I get an automated message that says, go ahead, try again. So then I go back to the seller of the product that I'm purchasing, which also has a completely automated system. And then I let them know, hey, I'm ready to make the purchase. I got some live chat support and said the situation. There was no guidance on their website about when the bank declines your transaction as a part of their anti-fraud procedures. So then they did say, okay, great, we will make the transaction again tomorrow. And then tomorrow came, it was yesterday, and I still did not see any transaction. And this has been an experience I've had repeatedly over the years with my bank. I know that it could just be something about regulations in the state of Georgia in the United States, that this is why this happens. Maybe they're very strict here, but I have this experience already. Even one time when I did try to subscribe to censored.tv because I'm a huge Gavin McInnes fan, they did decline that transaction because they said it was likely fraud, and maybe even possibly it was a risky content or something. So I did then call and speak with a person on the phone, I believe, who I told that, yes, I did intend to purchase this subscription to censored.tv. Thank you. And then they were able to go ahead and go through with it. So I think that these things that you are attributing solely to CBDCs, they already exist right here, right now.
I agree. I'm not denying that. They exist. I've had my own experience. I even did a whole podcast on it. I mean, just take a look at my latest episode. Did a whole podcast on it where the bank shut down my debit card for buying peanuts. I talked about that live on my podcast.
I remember that post.
But here's the thing. See, what people don't understand about CBDCs is that they're the ultimate surveillance system. They are. They're going to have, not only will they be able to program your money and tell you what and where and how to buy, you'll have 3 to 6 months to spend it. No more savings. That's eliminated. It's also going to be tied to your digital ID and your carbon credit link and your social credit score. This is all being built right in front of the people's eyes. And we're just sitting here on Twitter or on social media arguing about which crypto protocol is better. This is ridiculous. We need to come together, stand up, surround all of the government buildings, non-violent, of course, and ask them to leave. And if they don't leave, we stay there. We implode the entire global economy. Nobody goes to work. Nobody pays any tax. Nobody does anything until those government officials are out of power, out of office, leave the office, and we decide as the people together as a collective unit to decide we're going to put new people in here that's going to run the damn economy and run the freaking world the way we want it to run, not the other way around. We're not going to freaking submit to you a freaking authoritarian system. Klaus Schwab has even said in a live interview that he likes
Trump.
Yeah, Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum has stated that he likes the Chinese way. That is not how you want to live in the rest of the globe, the rest of the world. This is ridiculous. And people that are accepting this and like, oh well, maybe we should go that way. Why? Why? You're a free-spirited being. You don't want to live under authoritarianism. It doesn't work. It never works.
Yes. And with people, with our human ingenuity, it does come from that ability to be a free spirit and be creative and to say what you think freely. And so, yeah, I know what you're saying there. Now, I would like to say that this is something I'd love to try with you. This is one of the dollars I received from my tips in my day job. And this is the second time I've received one of these. It says, track me at www.where'sgeorge.com. So
Okay.
have you ever seen one of these before?
No, I've never seen that messaging, but I've seen $1 before, yes.
Yes. So I get these a lot. They're like stamped on there. So I was going to go to this website, and do you want to try it? I could go there now.
Yeah, go ahead and try it.
Screen. And then also, just to pivot for a sec, how about video games? Could you tell me about your whole journey as a gamer? How did it start, and what are you doing now?
Yeah, I can definitely tell you that. That's a very easy topic to go on. So with video game, I started when I was about 4 years old. I had a Game Gear. My father gave me a Game Gear, Sega Genesis for Christmas. I started off with FIFA 95. I played Sega Football 1995 as well, or maybe it's 94. I think it was 94. So yeah, I had those two games. I had Game Gear. I think it was Ninja Gaiden, I think it was called, back in 94, 93. Yeah, 94, 93. Ninja Gaiden. Used to go on a lot of traveling trips with my parents. Used to drive all across the country on road trips and things like that. So yeah, been gaming since the Sega Genesis days, Super Nintendo days, Nintendo days, moved to Sega Saturn, N64, PlayStation 1, PS1, PS2, PS3, regular Xbox, Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo Switch. Now we're on Xbox Series S and X. You know, I don't have a PS5, obviously. I'm an Xbox guy. We have the Nintendo Switch now. We have the Nintendo Switch OLED. We have pretty much all these consoles. Always love gaming. I love single-player horror games, decision-making games as well, like Life is Strange. Life is Strange Before the Storm. If you have not played Life is Strange, you definitely need to play that game. One of the best freaking single-player decision-making games of your life. You will love it, enjoy it. It is amazing. I like Before the Storm personally. I like freaking Chloe's story versus Max's story. Max's story was cool, but I think Chloe's story is even better. Life is Strange. True Colors is great as well. Great series. Cannot wait till they come out with the next Life is Strange in 2024. I believe they're coming out with a new Life is Strange. Great freaking mode to the series. Love being part of that community. If you're on PlayStation, you definitely want to play a horror game called Until Dawn. It will scare the pants out of you. You'll probably have nightmares for days.
I could not play that. No way.
What else? They have other games as well. I just got done playing a game on Xbox Series X called The Quarry. Very, very awesome game. It's based on a campsite in the state of New York. So this is awesome. It's about werewolves, people turning into werewolves and killing everybody. You have to play with all the characters, try to make them survive that entire night because they're getting hunted down by werewolves. It's absolutely amazing. You would definitely love the quarry as well. Um,
Is
Dead
that
by Daylight,
as in a mining quarry?
yes, just like a mining quarry, yes. Great
Okay.
game, really enjoyed it. There's just so many games I can go in. Beyond Two Souls for PS4, Heavy Rain for PS4. That game right there, Heavy Rain. If you have not played it, you definitely need to play Heavy Rain. Beyond Two Souls, Cyberpunk 2077. They're coming out with a new. They're coming out with a new expansion pack in 2023. Cyberpunk 2077 is a good game as well. I just bought this new game. I can't think of the name right now. What is it called? I can't think of it right now, but let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Let me see something. Hold on. No, I can't find it right now. But there's just plenty of games. There's plenty of games. There's just so many.
Yeah, that I haven't heard of a lot of those, but that's a good thing. You can share with me all these titles. So maybe I can at least look up a streamer online and see what they're all about. And you prefer the single player console games, it sounds like. Is that right?
They're one of my genres. I play sports as well, video games as well. I just really like gaming. Uh, as far as when I don't want to really talk to anybody or play anybody, I'll definitely play a single player game. Oh yeah, I figured out the game. The Medium. You definitely have to play the Medium. The Medium is one of the greatest, scariest games I've ever played. It's very confusing, I know, but it is worth the freaking storyline. The storyline is absolutely amazing. I know it got bad reviews online, but I don't listen to reviews. I play games myself and figure it out if it's good for me. You definitely should as well. The Medium is a great game in my opinion. I don't care what anybody says. The Medium is a great game.
Wow. And is that why you chose your moniker of Nitemare? Because you love these kind of spooky, scary games?
No, actually, Nightmare comes from just me being very, very controversial with a lot of views on life and just things in general. So I
Mm-hmm.
chose Nightmare because Nightmare is actually my favorite Soul Calibur character, actually.
Oh, what is that? Soul Calibur? That's a video game?
It's a fighting game. Yes.
Ooh, on a PlayStation or
It
which?
started off on PlayStation, but now it's on every console, Xbox, PlayStation. I think it's on PC as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
And have you ever played any of the multiplayer games or online role-playing games or MMORPGs?
Like PUBG or what is that game called? Fortnite?
Right, Fortnite. That's one for sure. Mm-hmm.
I play Fortnite. I'm pretty bad. I don't know how to build at all. I can honestly say that. I stink at building. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't really mess with Fortnite personally. I think it's a great game. I mean, hey, if you like Fortnite, you should definitely play it. You can make a lot of money. I know plenty of people who've made money in Fortnite going professionally. So if you want to do that, definitely go for it. Like, who am I to tell you not to? You think you can hack it and go through the grind? And hell yeah, definitely go for it.
Mm-hmm. And how about Zelda? Have you
Zelda's a
ever played
Nintendo
Zelda?
exclusive, so yeah, I have played Zelda Majora's Mask, I believe, for N64, one of my favorites. I haven't played Zelda recently. My wife has actually been getting into gaming. She's more of a Nintendo fan than I am. She's
Ah,
playing Animal Crossing and things like that. So yeah, she's looking to get some more games for her Nintendo Switch as well. So yeah,
that's great. I should get one and play her too. And I saw on a YouTube video a comment. It was so funny. This person said they had streamed the entire game of a Zelda, one version of Zelda, and the commenter said, "If you think I'm going to watch a 10-hour live stream about a game I've already beat 20 times, then you're absolutely right.
Yeah, there you
That
go.
is so funny because, sometimes these gamers, they just love it and they love to watch someone play the game and find out all the secrets, and then they love to play it themselves. So are you like that too?
I mean, I do stream. I do have a Twitch channel as well. I haven't streamed in a while, but once I move to Florida, I think I'll get a whole setup again and I'll
Mm-hmm.
start streaming games again. And oh, P.S., the game I was talking about that I couldn't think of is called The Devil in Me. The Devil in Me is a horror game. It's only $40 if you have the money. And if you don't have the money, use your cryptocurrency to buy an Xbox gift card, download this game, play The Devil in Me. Cannot wait to get home. Sunday, I am going to hop in. The Devil in Me. This game is going to be off the hook. It reminds me of Until Dead Dawn, until yeah, Until Dawn, which is one of the scariest games I've ever played in my entire life. And I know The Devil in Me is going to mimic that because it's from the same people who made Until Dawn, so I know it's going to be good.
Wow. And then what if it were virtual reality, an immersive horror game? Could you handle that?
No, I could not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
This is why I play on a console and not in VR, because that type of stuff I would literally shit my pants if I fucking was in a game like that for real. Like,
Right.
no.
Ah, yikes. So let me pivot back here to the share screen. I want your opinion as a Monero supporter. Would you register for this website? It's asking me for my first name and my email address. It says choose a password, re-enter password. How or where did you find out about Where's George? So what do you think about that? Because when we met, I know that I was live streaming and there was a gentleman there who said, I'm not comfortable being on camera. And I had already been standing there with the camera. So is that something that's big in the Monero community, where you value the privacy as a paramount
For each
objective?
Monero user, it's different. I know for myself, I mean, that's why I do podcasting. I don't really like to be on camera
Mm-hmm.
too often, unless I'm like being interviewed by you or something at a bar or something that I really don't
Yeah,
care at that point. You
right.
know, I'm at a crypto event, I'm always out, so my face is pretty recognizable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it doesn't bother me personally, but I know other Monero users, they really shield their identity. Like there are crypto people that never go to events at all. They don't want their identity exposed at all. They wear ski masks. I've seen people wear sunglasses at Monero events. I've seen people wear masks at events. I've seen people wearing a freaking Halloween costume just to shield their identity. So that's the point. Like people are going to make their own decisions how private they want to be. You know, there are some people that will use different addresses for Monero when they're transacting, things like that. They'll use a sub address as well, so they can receive Monero and things like that. So it's just different for every person.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that sounds similar to the BSV scene too. We did a conversation just a couple weeks ago with Jerry, David Chan, and Brittany Bitts. And we discussed that topic that Kurt had tweeted out about. How can you have the privacy such as with the ring signatures of Monero tokenized on the BSV blockchain, so that you enable that transparency at the same time as privacy. And we discussed how there are many different viewpoints within this group of people. There's that famous celebrity thinker or philosopher, Rafa. He's the one that brought us together with Robin. Do you remember Raphael or Rafa?
Oh yeah, I mean, I sent you his. I think I just sent you his latest video he did yesterday with the Pirate Chain community, where they got in that whole debate about BSV versus Pirate Chain. If I haven't sent it to you on Twitter, then I'll send it to you.
Thank you. Yes, I think you did send that to me because I did see that go through.
Yeah.
And yeah, with my current job, I have no ability to be on my phone while I'm working. And then when I'm commuting, I hadn't had any headphones. So then I couldn't hear anything, even if I had it playing. So there's a lot of episodes for me to catch up on. However, this morning I did go and I bought some headphones. So I'm on my way, Nightmare. I'll
Yeah,
be able
that's
to listen to it all. So, what was your takeaway from Rafa? What he was saying, and compared to the pirate chain people?
I mean, it's interesting. I like Raphael. I like the way he thinks because me and him kind of think pretty much identical. Like I said, I use Monero. I've also added Dogecoin to now the currency I use as well on a public blockchain because I thought about a lot what Raphael said that you definitely need to be, you can be private, but you definitely want to be open as well in public with some of your transactions. And that's fine. I understand that. I completely understand that because I recently got rid of my credit card. I recently got rid of it, like completely
Mm-hmm.
canceled it because I know where we're heading to. I know what Visa's planning. I know what MasterCard's planning. They've already said this openly. They're going to start putting carbon credit limits on your purchases. Well, then, if that's the case, well, I need to get out of your system. I need to opt out. I need
Mm-hmm.
something that's going to back Monero that, yes, unfortunately, everybody knows how I feel about Elon Musk. If you don't know how I feel about Elon Musk,
I
go to
know.
my podcast. You can definitely hear the exact way I feel about Elon Musk. I do not like him. I do not trust him at all. I don't think he's an advocate for free speech at all. I think he's playing that game to get people to sign up to his Neuralink, which is then he'll have full control over your thoughts and be able to see what you're thinking. So I think he's a puppet more than anybody else in the globalist scene of to take over the entire human race. But people love him, and that's fine. Yes, he promotes Dogecoin. That's fine. Again, I was in this space long before Elon got into Doge. I remember being a Dogecoin whale. I remember freaking talking to people back in 2014, just when Monero came out about Dogecoin. Wouldn't it be great if Dogecoin became a currency? Wouldn't it be great if we could pay for our McDonald's in Dogecoin? Wouldn't it be great? And then here, fast forward 8 years later, and here we are.
Wow, I didn't know it existed then that long ago. Doge
Yeah.
did it? Oh wow. Okay.
Yep.
So when did these this I guess was it Litecoin that was one of the first? Was that the first one that came up after Bitcoin? BTC Bitcoin?
Yeah. Yeah. Litecoin came out in 2011. I remember 2011.
And that was
Litecoin.
he pretty much copied BTC and then called it Litecoin. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was. He copied the entire code and he basically made a little bit changes and he wanted to make a lighter version of Bitcoin. The reason why is because of the transactions that were starting to go up and he wanted to keep the transaction low. He wanted to give a light version of Bitcoin. That's basically
Uh,
the whole premise of Litecoin.
and then after that, then what happened? Were there more coins that copied BTC?
Well, people started looking at, okay, well, we need something that's cheaper, or we need a meme coin. And then that's when Dogecoin came out, and the founders of Doge, they were making fun of the cryptocurrency market. So that's why they created Doge. It was for a joke. And then eventually it turned into a currency because people started adopting. They said, oh, I love dogs. I love Shiba Inus. Hey, let's create a foundation. Let's help the Shiba Inu dogs and stuff like that. So that's why Dogecoin is still around. And then Elon Musk adopted, and then it really took off when it started pumping in 2020. Ironically, that's.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I just said that's what I felt. It was very recent, just 2020 that it became mainstream to even recognize the word Dogecoin.
Yeah, and ironically, that's the same year I started my podcast. So that's funny. But but yeah, like Bitcoin Cash came out in 2017. You had XRP that was out in 2012. You had, I think XLM came out in 2013 or 2014. One of those. Maybe it came out late 2012 or something like that. I I remember when Tron Coin came out in 2017, and all these other damn tokens and coins started coming out. I'm like,
Mhm.
what the hell is going on? You know, and
Mhm.
that's when all the newbies started coming into crypto. See, I've been here a long time with Eric uh Voorhees and when what was that Mount Gox freaking came about, and before the collapse and all that thing. I saw all of that. Freaking Silk Road. I remember all of that. I remember all of that when that came out. The only reason why I don't get the recognition Raphael and Kurt and all these other, big, I would say, crypto, I guess you can call them celebrities, get is because I wasn't out there. I'm more behind the scenes. I like being behind the curtain. I don't want the spotlight on me. I want the spotlight on you, Rory. I want you to have the spotlight. I'm gonna sit back here, so when the media comes after you, okay, they can attack you. They don't know anything about me. They're like, "Who's this
Hey,
nightmare
thanks
guy?"
a lot.
You know, who's this nightmare guy? Who's this guy? We don't know him. We don't want to talk to him. We want to talk to you, Roy. We want to know your thoughts. We want you in front of millions of people, giving them crypto advice. While I sit back here and do my own research, and then I can talk about it on my podcast, share it with the world, and tell you to make your own decision. If you decide, like I always said, if you decide that BNB is good for your portfolio, then by all means buy it. But make sure you do your research
Oh,
before.
BNB?
No, BNB, Binance,
BNB. What is BNB?
Binance.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if
Thanks
you, yeah. So basically, what I'm saying is like, if you decide that's good for your portfolio, and you say, look, Nightmare, I get it. I should stay away from centralized coins. They're shit coins. I get it, but I want to make some money. Okay, well, fine. But make sure you do your research. Make sure you read the white paper of Binance before you put it in. Before you spend $1,000 or $10,000 on BNB. Hoping it goes up in value so you can make a crap ton of fiat back. That's on you. But I said back in 2020 when Binance was pumping. I remember when Binance was $13, when it was $27, and I thought about it for a second. I said, "Damn, Binance is pumping. Maybe I should jump on this and make some money." And then I said, "No, no, 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 no. This is a centralized coin. I'm not fucking with centralized coins. I got to stick to my more. I can't mess with this." So I left it alone. Binance got to $737 during 2020, during the bull market we had. Now, I look like an idiot because I didn't buy it when it was $27, going to make a crap ton of money. But other people did make a crap ton of money, and that's fine. I'm just saying you got to understand the risk versus the reward when it comes to cryptocurrencies in general. That's why I never thought FTT token was a good investment. I never talked about it because I thought it was a shitcoin to begin with.
Sorry, what's FTT?
The FTX token.
Oh, okay, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
you touched on something I'm curious about. That is the longevity or seniority, the concept of seniority. So we see this a lot with bands. People will say, well, I was following this band or this musical group way before they became popular, and then all these people come in and then they wear their t-shirts and they're mainstream now, but I'm the OG Dave Matthews Band fan. I've heard people say before,
Mhm.
or maybe some more alternative bands too.
Mhm.
And that is something I've witnessed in this scene as well. Like you mentioned, you've been here longer, but there's no kind of badge to say I have more seniority than all of these people. So is that something that you feel a certain way about? I mean, could you touch on that concept?
No, I don't think I need a badge. I just like to remind people, okay, yes, a lot of these people that are in it, like Kurt, Raphael, Crypto Vigilante, Dollar Vigilante, Jeff Berwick, and all these people, yes, they've been in as long as I have. But the thing is, what makes them different from me is that they're more techie than I am. See, I can talk about the currency aspects of a lot of these crypto because that's always been my morals from the beginning. When I read the Bitcoin white paper, the one thing I took away from that, oh, I can be my own banker. Oh, wait a minute. I don't need a bank anymore. I can buy things. Give me a second. I gotta take this. Somebody's at the door. Give me a second.
Oh, for sure. No worries. Okay. Room service. Oh, so I'll take this time to say subscribe to the channel. Woohoo! Rory Zimmerman. Be in the moment. Okay. We got the likes and the subscribes. Yes. Thank you, my friends. Also, I'd just like to say that speaking of seniority or some kind of, status symbol, Twetch Green has recently come out. So in honor, I did my nails in Twetch Green color and would like to encourage everyone to go to twetch.com. They currently have an iOS app available, and you can learn about the power of microtransactions, pay to play, social media. So this is on Twetch, TWETCH.com. And there is a lot of fun happening in that little virtual world. So they say they are the inventors of Web3. So I'd just like to say, go Twetch Green. Woohoo!
I'm back, by the way.
Thank you. I just did a commercial break.
Yeah. That's fine.
So thank you. I did. Now you've not joined Twetch, have you?
I mean, I have a Twitch account, but
oh, you do a Twetch?
Yeah, I have a Twitch account, but it doesn't work. I guess because of me living in New York, it doesn't work. It was working when I was down here in Miami, but it's not working up there for some reason.
Well, you can always just send a direct message to Twetch on Twitter, and they will help you.
Okay, I'll definitely do that. So, what we were just talking about here? We were just talking about.
I had asked you about the seniority and the feelings about that, about people knowing a lot, also about impressions of other people. So people will think, oh, they made a lot of money, and so maybe they will think that they're an expert, but it still is a kind of game of chance, right? So if you play the slot machines at a casino, you could win a lot of money, and then you could say, this is it, and I'm an expert. But actually it is just a game of chance and timing. So yeah, I don't know about all of that. Really, I'm curious also about your concepts as a big gamer regarding leaderboard payouts, like Haste Arcade. Have you played that before?
No, but let me touch on your other points real quick. So back to the seniority real quick.
Okay.
Like I said, with guys like Raphael, Kurt, even Dr. Craig Wright, people like that are very techy. Even people like Stoic and people like Monero Mateo, people like that who are real techy. People in the Monero community are real techy. Like, they see that whatever coin they're attached to, like, for example, the Monero community, a lot of people are very techy. I'm not a tech person. You know what I mean? I like tech. I think it's great. I think it can help humanity in a good way. But I cannot give you the ins and outs of tech. I don't even know I can't even really explain to you what in and outputs are in crypto. I can't really explain. I know what they are and how they work, but I can't really explain. You said, Nitemare, I need you to explain to me what an in and output is for a crypto transaction. I couldn't really tell you. I literally have to look it up. But I can tell you what cryptos are good transaction cryptos, whether they're Monero or Pirate Chain or Giro or something like that, or DarkFi that's going to come in the future, which is going to be on proof of stake, by the way. And if you haven't seen Rose's freaking interview about DARPA, please go watch. She did an interview with Raphael, so please go watch that.
What?
She was
What
also.
did you say? Who is with Raphael?
It was Rose. She was at Moneratopia 22. She spoke about her project that she's working on with her team called DarkFi. It's supposed to be a better version of Monero, but it's going to be on proof of stake instead of proof of work.
Mm.
So I'll definitely send you that interview as well after the show. But for me, it's not about fame. It's not about fortune. It's about getting away from the banks. My whole point of ever being in crypto was to stick it to the banks, was to give the middle fingers to the banks and the government. That was my whole reason to ever joining crypto, because I've had bad experiences with banks. I've been debanked so many times, it's not even funny. So for me, crypto is a way for me to stick it to them and say, go screw yourself. I don't need you. I don't want you. You can just go away. I have my own bank. I'll run this myself and I'll do it myself. I don't need any of your rules and regulation and all this crap. Get out of my face. But now, as far as things go, as far as money goes with the crypto, it's great if you want to make money. I've done it myself. I mean, I could give you an example. I used Uniswap during the bull market of 2020. Uniswap was $5. Everyone said it was a shit coin. What are you doing? Why are you buying this token? I said, check this out. Uniswap's going to go up in value. Watch this. So I took Uniswap when it was $5. I bought, I think it was 20 Uniswap tokens. I watched the market as it rose up in value. And once it hit $45, I said, okay, it's reached its peak, I think. I'm going to go ahead and sell. Get my money and get out. The minute I did that, Uniswap took a dive just like that. And I told everybody that came in super late. You can go back to my podcast. I literally said this in 2020. I forget what podcast it was, but you go in the archives and find it yourself. I said this. Mark my words. Uniswap being at $45, it's overvalued. It needs to come down. And right after I said that, it came down. And that's the point. You got to know, you have to decide when it's time to get out. I understand people say, well, you know, I listen to crypto experts like BitBoy and this freaking crypto user over here. And I'm like, no, what you have to do is do your own research, read the white paper, decide if it's good for you, say if it's a good investment or it's a good trade for you. And then you have to decide as it's starting to creep up in value, get more and more higher in value. You have to decide, okay, I'm going to sell now, get my money and get out. Put it in something like Monero, put in something like BSV, put in something like something that you're going to use as currency later down the line, even Dogecoin, if you're going to use that as money, put it in there, put your profits in there, and then use it for an Uber or a plane ride or a hotel stay, you know, things like that.
How do you use it for an Uber?
Well, there's certain websites. You can go to coincards.com and you can use certain cryptos there. You can use Monero, Dogecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum. I believe they accept Litecoin. I believe freaking BNB's even accepted on there. I'm not sure, but let me double check. I know Litecoin's accepted on there as well. So I know CoinCards was at the Litecoin actual summit that happened in Las Vegas.
Ooh, so that's coincards.com that you use?
That's right.
I see. So again, it is through an intermediary. It's that you would purchase a gift card. The gift card is using the credit card technology or the credit card platform to validate the transaction then that would go through Uber, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so I've seen that. I did that even with Centbee. Centbee had these abilities for us to purchase a Walmart gift card and even a Chili's restaurant gift card.
Yeah.
So this time last year, I used BSV to buy some Christmas stocking stuffers there. at Walmart, and I also took my friend to Chili's in our old neighborhood. It was like it's so funny to be back at the old high school Chili's, and I used Centbee to make that happen. But again, it was through the gift cards, right? So it is not exactly seamless. It's not really using the system. And we hear about the plumbing, the being in the, being under the hood. The system is on the protocol, and then people can build upon it. So that's the difference. Now, earlier today, and I was thinking of you going to the Florida Citadel there with Kurt and Zach. And I know that they are possibly in Del Rey, which is a certain part of Miami. And I was thinking, oh, maybe you'll take a train, because I heard Kurt say he often uses a train to get from his neighborhood down into the Miami Beach, South Beach area. So I was going to tweet at you and say, hey, find out the train schedule or directions by train. That might be the best. But also let me know your hand cash so I could send you a donation for the Uber. And then I thought, well, could you even then take that BSV from hand cash and use it to pay for Uber?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I said, I use coin cards for Uber rides, Uber Eats, things like that. I use traveler.com for flights, hotel stays. That's how I was able to get this hotel using my Monero. Now I'm using Dogecoin as well. So I use both of those, both proof of work freaking systems. I have no problem with proof of stake at all. I mean, I know a lot of people in the Monero community, even across all communities that are proof of work evangelicals and are advocates for proof of work, hates proof of stake. The funny thing is, I understand proof of stake more than I understand proof of work. I get the whole thing about proof of work. I get the concept, but I understand proof of stake more. So that's just me, though.
And so what's the difference between the two?
Well, proof of work has miners, obviously. It's more controlled by the miners, and it's more open source. Proof of stake is more basically a hierarchy where basically the people who have the most stake in the protocol have the most say so in the power. So that's the difference between the two.
So that sounds like it would be centralized.
It pretty much is. Most proof of stakes are more centralized. Now, I know Rose talked about in her interview that proof of stake, there are different proof of stake protocols, which I know there are. And there's different ways to set mechanisms in proof of stake so that doesn't happen. So the people who have the most stake in the proof of stake protocol don't have the most say so and the most voting power. I get that. There's a way to set that mechanism in there. Just a lot of people don't know how to do that. Rose is one of the very few women I know in the space that knows how to actually do that. And there are different proof of stake protocols out there, but that's just me. I mean, I like both. I used to have Cardano. I used to stake it. I used to have VeChain, which is 1 penny, by the way. You can stake it, get daily rewards. So I get it.
And then it sounds like the centralization you feel could be acceptable if it were the right people.
That's right. If the right people are in power, I don't mind centralization. I mean, we're all on Twitter, for God's sakes. We all know that's a centralized platform, social media company. I mean, a lot of the Monero communities on Twitter, which is a centralized social media platform. I mean, we talk about privacy, but yet we're on a centralized social media account, like a company that's owned by Elon Musk. I mean, what the hell is that? I mean, come on. And I get it. I know Raphael talked about it last night with his whole debate with Pirate Chain that yes, centralization needs to stay here. We just need the right people in power. And I totally agree with that. I agree. But the problem is we have all of these, and you can edit this out later, these ass clowns that are in power that freaking just want to have more power and more control over our lives. And that's the issue. That's the real problem. The problem's not centralization. The problem is the people who are in charge of the centralization. That's the issue. We need to get those people out of power, put the right people in, and then once you put the right people in, then the centralizers can work alongside the decentralizers. They can work together.
That's interesting. So you're saying remove the sociopaths from their power lust, experience there, and then put in people with integrity, and then the centralized system is okay. So what if that were the case with China? Because they have that centralized top-down structure. What if the people there are of integrity? Then is that system okay?
The China system, the problem with the China system, it's run by the public of what is it? What is their government called?
The
public.
PCP?
Yeah, that's them. So the problem is that they are a communist country, which basically wants control over all their citizens. How they do it? Social credit scores. How they do it? They monitor, surveil everything that you do. You can't even speak out against the government. If you do, your social credit scores are going to go down, which means you're eliminated from government services. You're eliminated from riding the public transportation. You're eliminated from getting any type of job in the government. So it's really a real controlled system. But now you're starting to see people in China starting to revolt. They're starting to revolt. They're starting to rebel, and it's about damn time. So yes, the world is watching China right now, because I keep saying this on my podcast every single week. There's going to be a new podcast on Saturday, 2 of them, one for the news, one for gaming and crypto. The point is, we have to stand up, folks. I get it. Americans are stuck on their TikToks. They're stuck on arguing on Twitter about which crypto is better. They're stuck on Instagram. They're stuck in the metaverse. They're stuck on all these stuff. And the reason why that stuff is set up in America, because they know if you act like the Chinese people, there'll be hell on earth in America. So everybody in the world is watching China right now, because everybody else that's outside the government is watching, saying, wait a minute, we can do what they do. We don't have to freaking kill any of these people. We just want them to get the hell out of office. That's it. We're just going to tear shit up until you get the hell out of Dodge. That's it. That's the point.
So,
you got to force their hand.
From this is just listening is that, again, it's the centralization that you say you don't have a problem with centralization, but it's also the functions that are going on within that system. So the fact that they have implemented the social credit score and all of the surveillance and the different control over movement of people, that in itself is a no-go for you. Whereas if it were just a centralized system with integrity, you're saying it wouldn't have all those functions with it. It would be released. So that's what I'm getting. Because that's interesting. It's just very interesting, Nitemare, because you are a Monero pro, and then you also say that you're okay with centralization. So I'm just really riffing on that right now, trying to grasp that concept. I
just look at it. Both things can be true. We need centralization in some aspects of our life, right? If China wants to be more open, right? This whole zero COVID policy, that's a bunch of crap. There's no way you're going to get zero COVID cases in your country. That's literally impossible. You have billions of people. That's literally impossible. The fact that you even have this out there as a policy is completely asinine. What are you doing? That's literally impossible. Someone in your country is going to get COVID. You have 1 billion plus people there. Of course someone's going to catch COVID. My thing is, okay, if this person catches COVID, All right, you isolate that person, but you don't need to isolate the entire billion of people you have in your country. You don't have to monitor and surveil everybody, every movement, everything they do online. That's ridiculous. That is completely ridiculous. Now, I like some of things China does with their whole business section, with the democracy they have with and capitalist side of their business structure. I like that part of China, but as far as government goes, that's ridiculous. And the same thing is going to happen in America, which I keep pointing to in the next 5 to 7 years. This is exactly what's going to happen to America if we don't nip this in the bud and literally, and I say this all the time, stop looking for people to save us. We are our own saviors. And I know I'm probably going to get on your favorite politicians, but I got to bring him up. Donald Trump. We got to stop looking at him as our savior. We got to stop. We got to stop this. We got to stop looking at Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I hear you, but we got to stop this. We got to stop looking for these billionaires to save us. We can save ourselves. We have the power in us to save ourselves.
With Donald Trump, he can fund himself. He can't be bought out like so many politicians.
I get it, but we have the power. All we have to do is say no. Have people forgotten about no? The word is no. I'm not going to accept your social credit score. I'm not going to do your carbon credit tax. I'm not going to do any of this garbage. You can take it and shove it up your ass. That's all you have to say. Is say no. I'm not going to take your COVID jab. If you threaten to fire me from my job, I'm not going to take your COVID job. I'll just go find another job. Or a matter of fact, let me get my freaking life skills back in order, and I'll build my own roof. I'll learn how to build my own house, build my own car from scratch myself. If you're not going to allow me to do things, then damn it, we're going to take the freaking control out of your hands and put it back in the people's hands. We used to have life skills, folks, over 100 years ago. We used to have gardens of vegetables in our backyards. What has happened to us? Look at what has happened to us.
Yeah, I just bought arugula at Walmart, so that is definitely different. Now, what about gaming income? So another point that I've taken in is that the digital asset scene, taking actions there, it sounds like a game or like a gamble, like a gambling game that you would have at a casino. So what about playing video games and earning microtransactions or micropayments from playing a video game? What do you think of that concept?
I think it's a great concept. The only thing I would caution is that how would you, depending on which protocol we're using. Now, if you're using something like Monero, you don't have to worry about the IRS because they can't see the transaction anyway. They've been working for 8 years trying to find, someone to break into Monero's code so they can look at all the trades. But the funny thing about Monero is what people forget is that Monero has a view key. If someone gives you their view key, you can see their transactions. That's the point.
Their what? Their view key?
Their view key. It's a view key.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. If someone gives you their view key from their Monero address, then obviously you can see all their transactions. But as long as no one's giving their view key to anybody, then of course outside prying eyes can't see it. It's only between me and, let's say, Rory. If I send Rory a XMR transaction to her Monero address, only she will be able to see it. Anybody outside of me and Rory will not be able to see it unless Rory decides, oh yeah, let me give you my view key so you can look too. There you go.
And as a gamer, you play for fun. So do you think that receiving micropayments would somehow make it a chore?
Well, it depends. I mean, streaming can be a chore depending on, if you have a full-time job, if you have kids, if you're a parent, if you don't have any kids, or if you're single, it can be a chore because your audience is going to want you to be on time every time you schedule. Like when I used to stream 3 times a week. Full-time job, I was single, didn't have a wife or anything at the time. So it was easy for me to do. But if you're a mom or you're a father, you have kids, you got a 9-to-5 job, it can get a little overwhelming. So that's where mental health comes in. So you're going to need to take a break, let your audience know, hey, I'm going to take a few days off, or I'm going to take a month off, get my mental state back in order, and come back and game. But to answer your question about micropayment, I think it's great. I know you're probably saying, Nitemare, we want it public, we want it transparent. That's fine. You can do it on BSV. You can do it on Bitcoin Cash if you want. You can do it on Litecoin. You can do it on XLM, Stellar's network, if you want to do it there. I know you're a BSV maximalist, so you probably want to do it on BSV. That's fine as well. Just for me,
where it can only be done. That's the thing. It's not about a sports team. It's about practicality. Where's the functionality at? It's only on BSV.
I got you. I get what you're saying. I'm just saying I want people to have the choice. If somebody says, hey, I don't want BSV payments, I want Dogecoin, then give them Dogecoin. If they want Litecoin, let them be paid in Litecoin. See, the thing I like about
just for
that's the thing.
Functionality, because
no.
The games are built like Crypto Fights or Duro Dogs or Haste Arcade. They are built on the BSV blockchain, and then that is enabled with micropayments. And because of the block sizes allowing all of the micropayments to be added up within them, it has the bandwidth to run that throughput of all of those game actions.
Yeah, I got that. And Raphael did explain that in one of his videos he talked about. Because I watch a lot of his videos as well. And he talks about BSV a lot. So I learned a lot of things from him.
Yes. May I jump in and say what I feel about Raphael and the hyperbitcoinization scene?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So I really like Rafa as a person. I don't agree with everything that he says. I know that in Miami, they had that musical group and they were very anti-establishment, like, I forget what they were chanting, but I was there and they were filming the music video at the club that we were at, that Treehouse, was it called? That little hut nightclub type of thing. And I forget what they were saying, but I was not aligning with what they were saying. But in the moment, I thought, well, I'm just soaking up the culture, and I'm dancing along and enjoying the moment. And yeah, I think that, we have differences there. So that's okay. We can all learn from each other. Like, I just text my mom. I said, hey, Mom, you can vote for Herschel Walker because you're independent. And, he's great. And the Raphael Warnock, he supports defund the police. And I didn't look completely, but I'm pretty sure she texted me back saying, I would never vote for Herschel Walker. But we still have plans today and we're going to enjoy time together. So we can have these differences of opinion, but it can make us stronger when we work together with integrity. And so back to the point is that with Rafa, Jack Liu, Daniel Krowitz, this is kind of I'll even throw Andreas in there. They're kind of a brainstorm team where they meet regularly on Twitter Spaces, and they're very devoted and they talk a lot about the principles that they admonish, and that is that Bitcoin is the corporation and that all companies will fade away. And they also follow a lot of Austrian economists, and I find that they could be potentially purists, idealists, and that it's a good idea to take their ideas, listen to what the tenets of their philosophy are, make a list of them, and then combine them with more realists who do see the value of corporations and of the whole current global financial supply chain system. I used to be very anti-Walmart. Now I'm super pro Walmart just because they've got what I need and it's affordable. And I really like it, but in the past I used to say, look at this parking lot full of carts. Oh, they're destroying society. You know, I was so upset about Walmart, and now I'm a huge fan. So this is what I wanted to say. So what do you think of all that, Nightmare?
I agree with you. I would say Raphael and pretty much a lot of the people you just made. Like Raphael, I know is an anarchist. I know that for a fact. I kind of like the anarchist thing as well. I get it. We want no government. We want self-government, and I agree with that 100%. But I'm also realistic. I'm saying, wait a minute. How are we going to get the people to all 8 billion of us to go this way? It's not going to happen. I said there's going to be a percentage of us that wants this. I mean, personally, I would want a more anarchy, self-governing society. Get back to everybody having a garden in their own backyard. Everybody coming together as a community. Everyone helping each other. Exchanging BSV, Dogecoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, even BTC, Monero, DarkFi. All of these protocols as money, for goods and services. That's always been my thing that I've always wanted to see. But do I think that's going to happen? Absolutely not. There are already people on Twitter talking about, well, they can't wait till the United States gets a CBDC in here. And I'm looking at these people as if they're nuts. Like, what do you mean? Do you understand what they're about to do to us? Do you understand that your life is about to be flipped upside down? Like completely when this takes place. But again, getting back to your question, there's a great anarchist festival that happens every year in February called Acapulco. It's in Mexico. It's in Acapulco. Raphael will be there. I won't be able to make it in 2023, but hopefully in 2024 I'll be able to make it because I want to check this thing out. They have something called Acapulco where everybody uses cryptocurrency. Everybody's selling goods and services out there and things like that, which I think is great. See, the thing is, ultimately, everybody has a choice. We learned this a long time ago in the 1999 original Matrix. Everybody has the choice. And also, in the second Matrix, Reloaded in 2003 when it came out, as Neo was talking to the architect, the problem is choice. It's also the solution, but it's also the problem. Because everybody's going to make different choices in life. So we all can learn each other, like you said, but at the end of the day, everyone's going to make their choice and they got to live with the consequences.
Right. And I made the choice not to watch The Matrix ever. And I've never watched it. Not the original, nor I guess the sequel. Also, I made the choice to put down Atlas Shrugged multiple times. I find it to be really annoying because they just run off into the Colorado mountainscape and big up Galt and then talk about how great they are off on their own. And I don't know, maybe I'll continue reading the book to the very end eventually. I still have it here on my desk, but I just think that it's totally hypocritical because what about all the people? I think that in that story, they should have stayed and helped out the whole society. I don't think they should have left everybody high and dry just because of a bunch of nerdy bureaucrats.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I love The Matrix. I loved all 4 movies. I hope they make another Animatrix coming up soon. That would be great for me because I definitely want to know what happened to Zion. What happened to Zion? We still don't know. What the heck happened to Zion?
It's
so yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, like, for me personally, if it had to come down to a choice, where it said, okay, Nightmare, you have to make a choice. You either can live in this centralized world or you can move to the decentralized world where there will be no more centralization whatsoever. And in the centralized world, there will be no more decentralization, right? So I had to make a choice. I would choose the decentralized world because I already know what the centralized world is. I already know how it functions. So I would choose the decentralized one because it's unknown. It's something new to me. It's something exciting to me. It's a new adventure. So I would want to see how that world would work out.
Yeah, and that reminds me of being in college. The teacher asked us to choose between whether or not we thought we were an idealist or a realist. And I said, I choose both. And so while I am not at all an anarchist, I'm an American. I'm raised by the concept of obedience to God Almighty. And I choose that. I choose the Constitution, the United States Constitution. I choose the Bill of Rights, that experiment that was started. I choose all of that. And I also love art. So I do love the dash of chaos thrown in for creativity. So I'm willing to listen to people of integrity like Rafa, who I disagree with. And, you know, he probably has brilliance. Same with Jack Liu. He is adamant about many things, and I disagree with him, but I often find him right. Same with Daniel Crowitz. I think he's great. I mean, I don't agree with him all the time. I don't think everything that he says is brilliant, but I respect him because he has great philosophy. And I have looked to him many times for inspiration or guidance. So, you know, I do think he is brilliant, but these guys are good to be challenged by. And I still will look to the corporates as well, look at what's worked, you know, read a Peter Drucker book and think about the fact that a corporation is of people. So yeah, these are things. I think it's a constant process, but yeah, it's not to, I just think that's my choice, is to stand with both feet solidly on the ground and be open-minded, you know, and be willing to be surprised this way or that, and to learn and to grow. But yet, ultimately, I follow my heart, my intuition. And that has always led me, you know, along in this journey of life. And I love that. So what about you, Nitemare? Do you have a real experience of following your heart, so to speak, or of being able to judge what is right or wrong, what is moral based on something within you, something mysterious?
Yeah, so for me personally, I go by the natural law. Personally, this is going to sound pretty un-American, but I can care less about the Constitution. I can care less about the Bill of Rights. Here's why. I look at the natural law. That's over everything else, anything man could ever decide to do in its lifetime. The natural law is basically 3 rules. Rule number 1, don't hurt other people. Rule number 2, don't hurt the environment. Rule number 3, everything else is fair game. That's it. That's basically what I live by. And I think about it like this. Okay, let's do pedophiles real quick. Let's just take that as an example. There are people in the world who think having sex with underage children is great. I say, well, honestly, if you look at the natural law, that's hurting other people. That's rule number 1. You're already violating rule number 1. So that's morally and spiritually wrong. So you shouldn't be doing it. You're already breaking the natural law's number 1 rule, hurting other people. So that's the way I look at things in general. So I try to put everything under that umbrella. Friendships, crypto, life in general. I think to myself, okay, am I breaking one of these 3 rules? All right. If I'm not breaking any of these 3 rules and it's on rule number 3 and it's everything else is fair game, okay, then I'm good. You know, even anarchy, I put anarchy at rule number 3 when it comes to the natural law of the universe, where it's okay, self-governance is okay. You know, that's not hurting anybody. I mean, yes, we don't want to kill people, blow things up, stuff like that, because that'd be hurting people, hurting the environment. But self-governance can work. And I think for me personally, I try to be an open-minded person to all ideas. I don't agree with everything Raphael says. I don't believe everything Kurt says out of his mouth, or even sometimes you, Rory, when you sometimes are talking about like CBDCs in a good light, I don't believe that either. I think they're just
I'm
horrible.
all about chain, right? But I value you because you remind me, you and some other friends over the years remind me to look soberly at this, right? Because even if you think, okay, these people, they are of integrity and they have it the best, you still should always be soberly looking at it to ensure the integrity, of what you're promoting or what you're enthusiastic about. But yeah, I see from what I've seen with nChain that they are providing a solution that allows transparency with privacy, and that their solution is ideal. It's realist in the fact that, yes, this is an improvement upon the old system. So let's get into this. Let's go for something new. This is practical, but yet it's also ideal in the sense that you can protect people. People could be protected with their ability to have privacy and freedom too. So we could, when I made that purchase, I still got to follow up and make that bloody purchase, so like I will be able to follow through and do that with a lot of effort in the current system. But when you don't have to have the fraud prevention procedures, when everything is on the BSV protocol, then things could be more smooth and more efficient. Likewise, I mean, I could track, I'll probably join this website and track this dollar bill, but what about all those dollar bills that were put on a crate and sent to Iran several years ago? Are we able to track all of those? Like, is that the whole point of it? Were we tracking them? I think the government's having, being able to hold the government accountable with the transparency of having it on an immutable ledger is a great opportunity for people, for the rights of the people to really look and not just get caught up in a storyline. Because of course, that's a part of it too. I am definitely opposed to just people getting into their groups and then going this way and that. I'm not like that at all. I'm here and I say, this time I like Cynthia McKinney. Later, I like Trump. Who knows what I'll like in the future.
Right. I'm just not a fan of governments. I really cannot stand them at all. Because I think they're liars. I think they're full of crap. Like, it's just to me, it's just a puppet show, because I'm like, the people who are pulling the strings, you don't even see. Like, there's a shadow government behind all these people. Even the WEF, even though we see them, but everybody wants to blame the WEF, but ultimately it comes down to us, because we're allowing this to happen. We have to take the responsibility as human beings and say, no, I'm not going to allow you to tell me you're not allowed to buy that water bottle. We see you bought 5 water bottles this week. You're not allowed to buy a 6th one. As a matter of fact, we're going to deprogram your money so you can buy water. You can only buy spinach now. No, screw you. I'm going to go buy the damn water, whether you like it or not, jack off. I don't care what you got to say. I don't care that you're in government. I don't care that you work for the WEF. I don't care you work for the WHO, which is the World Health Organization. I don't give a damn about that. This is my money. I get to buy whatever I want. So for me, I'm looking at it as an integrity issue. My problem with CBDCs is that they're not ethical. They're not morally right, and they're not spiritually right. I mean, as one of the guys on Kiko once said, CBDCs were concocted in hell by Satan himself. That's where these come from. There's no way a human thought of this. This had to be concocted by the devil himself. Period. Now, I don't believe that personally, but I think it could be a concept that Lucifer created this. Like, period. Like, why would you want to control somebody else's money? What business it is yours to control somebody else's money? If Rory wants to buy a goddamn freaking air balloon, let her buy the air balloon. Why is it freaking let's say
That
the
would be
central bank.
I'd love to do that. Well, maybe just go on a ride, go on an air balloon ride. I don't know if I would, upkeep an air balloon.
Yeah, my point is, why is it the central bank's job to tell Rory, no, you're not allowed to buy that because it's it has too much carbon in it. Wait a minute, who the hell are you to tell Rory what the hell is carbon, what has too much carbon and what doesn't? What are we talking about here?
Mm-hmm.
What
Right.
are we talking
Now,
about?
I will jump in and say that, yeah, I agree with you on these concepts when I hear what you're saying, and that I think also there's a difference between the CBDC topic. There are those programmable monies that are talked about that we've heard on the news. We've heard the former CEO of Twitter talk about it on his Twitter Spaces. You told me about him talking about UBI and these concepts about programmable money, and you've told me about that before, and you gave great examples on our conversation together here. So yeah, I do not like that at all. But what I'm saying is that I think that the solutions that are provided by nChain are different from that, because it's fine to me to allow transparency with the ability for people to buy freely. And then if there's a question, like if there's a fraud or if there's some criminal gang that's using the system somehow, it could be tracked back, and then there could be changes made. I think that's good to be able to have that option. But to just throw out everything and say, oh no, it's all terrible, I think that is missing a chance to level up for all of us. Because I think what we already have is like that, as far as the lack of transparency. And then even within the government, I think a lot of people were paid to be these politician people. And yeah, I see what you're saying. That's why I voted for Cynthia McKinney back in the day, and then later Donald Trump, because these are two individual people that I personally resonated with and believed in their integrity. Now, other people can say, well, I don't believe it. I think that those people are puppets. That's fine. That's their prerogative to think these people are ingenuine or disingenuine. But I'm saying I think that these people are too legit to quit. I'm voting for them. And so that's kind of that combination of the idealism with the realism, is to say, like for example, in Georgia, we had the election where there was Brad Raffensperger who was up for re-election, and then everybody was saying, hey, vote for him. Let's vote all Republican. And I said, no, I can't vote for him because he lacks integrity. I think that the whole thing that he did with President Trump was a sham when he said that he was being pressured on the phone call. He was just a part of the little play that they were doing to try to make President Trump look bad or look like a villain in the story. So, no, I'm not voting for him. I don't care if you say it's a wasted vote. I vote for the people, not for a big clique. I'm not clicky at all.
I got you. My thing is, when it comes to the whole nChain thing, and I've heard this mentioned, I think Kurt mentioned, I think he was in the Twitter space talking about it. I think I popped in there. Nobody noticed me in there, but I was in there. And I get it. I get it. The whole, okay, nChain is going to do this, make it transparent. I get all that. But I'm like, wait a minute. We already have a system. It's called decentralized cryptos, folks. We already have these systems here. Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, XLM, BSV, Monero, all these freaking protocols, Pirate Chain, Hero, they're already here. They're already transactional currency. Even Dogecoin, if you want to use that as a transaction currency, use that. It's public. It's open source. It's right there in your face. You want to share your freaking purchase with the world? Go right ahead. Dogecoin is there. Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, all these open transparent ledger are already here. And I get it. People are going to say, well, Nightmare, well, what about building on chain? I get it. The whole building on chain thing. I've heard this so many times. So many times. So
Well,
many times.
word that popped in my head is liquidity. So yeah, you have all these different things you could say, oh, let's all use this, let's all use these seashells over here. But the whole system of the world needs something universal, right? That you can have those flows going here, there, and everywhere. So I think that's the major concept, is that you have the protocol that enables everything to be flowing just as it always has, but better and better and better, with transparency, the integrity of the immutable ledger, and then the space to run and function everything.
Well, from what I understand, like I said, I'm just a person that's open to choices. I'm a freedom of speech advocate, a freedom of choice advocate, a freedom of consequences advocate. Look, I say, look, Rory wants to transact on Monero's blockchain. Let her transact on Monero blockchain. She wants to be anonymous and private. Let her do it. Why does it matter? If she wants to show you what she bought, she can give you her view key, and that's it. That's it. That's it. If you want to be open and transparent, I say, look, okay, you can't afford, let's say, BSV. I don't know, what is it, like $40 right now? I think it's like $40 right now. But let's say you can't afford it. Let's say you're in Iraq. You can't afford BSV. Why don't you get Dogecoin? It's only 10 cents. Everybody can afford a dime. So what the hell? Use Dogecoin as money. Go to your local grocery store. See if you can talk them into taking Dogecoin. You don't have US dollars? Hey, take this Dogecoin instead. Boom. They take the Dogecoin. Boom. It's open, transparent. Everybody sees the transaction. You see it. The merchant sees it. The governments can see it. You're not doing anything illicit or illegal. Boom. Everybody's happy. Everybody goes home happy. You get your groceries. They get paid. They can sell it. Get their fiat. Everybody's happy. Everybody wins. That's the only thing I'm looking at. I'm looking at, we've already built the protocols. They're already here. They've been around since like 2011, 2014, 2013. They're here already, folks. We don't need to build an entire new system. It's already here. It's already here. We just got to use it as money. I get it. They're volatile. I get it. But nobody ever talks about how the US dollar is volatile. Nobody ever checks the DXY every single day. I do, because I'm a nerd like that. But the point is, the DXY, the dollar index.
Oh, okay. DXY. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nobody checks that. That's volatile. But nobody ever talks about how the dollar goes up in volatility when it moves up and down. Nobody talks about that. But I'm just saying, we use these excuses to, it seems like to me, to hide what we really want to do, how we really feel. It's most of us in this crypto space want to use it, as the Bitcoin white paper says, as money, be our own bankers. That's it. We want this system gone. We don't want bankers controlling our money. We want to control. We got this. We're responsible adults. We can handle it. We got it.
It's a bit like art, where you can all look at the same painting and see different things from it.
Right. I have no problem with BSV. I know people say, I know some of the BSV community is always hitting me up in my DMs like, Nightmare, you just need to come over. And I'm like, no. I like Monero. I like privacy and just being private and untraceable and trackable. There are some things I don't want the government to know, like my trip to Florida. What do you think currency I use? You think I use Dogecoin or Monero? I use Monero for the trip. I use Monero for the hotel. I use Dogecoin for the Uber because I'm like, yeah, government, you can see that I'm riding an Uber. That's fine. You don't need to know that I'm flying though.
And when you talked about using all these different alternative currencies or protocols freely, like people can say, oh, I want to use this one. Oh, I want to use that one. I think the reason that BSV emerged is because they can't be supported everywhere by everyone. So they don't have the bandwidth for that. And that's why BSV emerged, was to use the full functionality of the system and at scale within the large blocks. So that is the big narrative that we see in BSV. We're all about large blocks full of nanotransaction fees that add up to then reward the miners engaged in the proof of work system.
But here's the thing though, XLM can do 1 million transactions per second. So can XRP. So my problem is that you have two coins. All right. I know XRP is a centralized coin. I get that. It's a Banksy coin. But XLM is the people version of XRP. So I'm trying to understand why does no one use XLM? It can do 1 million transactions per second. It says it in the white paper. Do 1 million transactions per second. So what is going on here?
Well, I think because it's not on the immutable ledger. It's totally, like you said, you have that ability to just have hidden info or transactions, which
XLM is
things private. That's the difference, is that BSV is like, you can have something private, but ultimately it's there. And things like Taproot and Segwit, they removed the signatures and they said, oh, this is good, just listen to us, what we're doing. And they also took out all of the different opcode functionality, and so they can't handle the information in there too. So you can't run a game or any kind of software or system at scale for the world when you have little tiny floppy disks, when they're like, they can only hold 1.4 megabytes at the most.
I get where you're coming from, but when I said XLM, I was talking about Stellar's network. Stellar network was basically created. It's an open, transparent ledger. It was basically created for the people. Because I know in the emerging market, XLM is a currency. I know that for a fact. A lot of emerging markets use XLM as a currency. All right. So my thing is, XLM can do 1 million transactions per second. I'm talking about just money. We're not talking about games and all that other stuff. We're talking about just money. Use it as to buy goods and services. That thing there can literally mint your transaction on its chain in 2 to 3 seconds. So if that's the case, if XLM can do that, and it was created in, I believe, 2014, along with Monero and Dogecoin, 2 years after XRP, then why in America, just America, I'm not talking about the rest of the world, in America, why don't we use XLM as money? Why don't we use Stellar Lumens? I don't get it. The rest of the world already uses it. Why don't we do it here in America? I just don't get it. If you want open, transparent ledger used for goods and services outside of gaming and stuff, I mean, we can still use BSV for gaming stuff. I'm all for that. And I'm also for people using BSV to buy goods and services. But I'm saying, we have over 300 million Americans. Why not use XLM? Why not use Stellar Lumens? Why can't we use all of these protocols? Why can't people have the choice? I mean, if we already live under a constitutional bill of rights, they should have the choice of which protocol they want to transact in. That's all I'm saying. Just give people the choice. Let them decide.
I did see on one of the Stellar social media posts that they also were pitching a CBDC solution.
They were. Yeah, they are.
Mm-hmm. So I am not familiar with their technicalities, but I do recall seeing this kind of like spiffy surfer dude, like really promoting them on, like, back with the Bitcoin Cash days. And he was very, charismatic. So yeah, I think that they have a lot of those, big megaphones out, for Stellar. But I don't know if it is, just one of those bait and switches like Litecoin and everything that is just clouding up the consciousness away from this level up that we can achieve with genuine Bitcoin at scale for the world.
I think the thing is, I think people have lost faith in Bitcoin personally, especially here in America. I think they completely lost faith in it because they don't see it works. They don't think it works. Like Bitcoin's original white paper basically stated, and I literally have it on my laptop. I keep it every day for a history lesson. It was a electronic digital cash, peer-to-peer electronic digital. That's what it says next to the title of Bitcoin. That's what it says. People want it to work as the title states. Peer-to-peer electronic. Listen, I understand the games and all that, but I mean, Roy, me and you can agree to disagree. PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox has that locked up. I understand you want to build on chain, I get that, but Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo has that locked up. You're not competing with them. There's no way you're going to outcompete those three companies. It's just not going to happen. I get it.
Deliver what I'm referencing, though. They just are, those are console games where people spend a lot of time, but there's no monetization within them. So they don't compete with what I'm talking about.
I get it, but I would just reference it as video games in general, as in the broad spectrum of video gaming, where those three companies kind of got that space locked up. I get it. Entrepreneurship, I get it. You want to compete, and that's great. I'm all for it. But
new. It's something new. So, avant-garde is something.
I got you.
But that's the bit that could be a bit of anarchist, or just that avant-garde sense where let's do something new. We don't have to do the same old thing. So maybe you can have micropayments while you're playing a video game, and you can have some monetization for your time spent. The time you spend playing all these games, maybe that could even pay a bill or be a whole source of income if you're a really excellent gamer. So I think this concept is avant-garde, and people are used to just playing a video game and having fun with it, but then they've spent all their time. So I think that is more of what I'm talking about, is the monetization of these video games. I think that's something that is just now beginning. We see like leaderboard payouts with Haste Arcade.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Now. So yes, I agree with that. But my thing is, getting back to Bitcoin, the reason why I harp on that so much, what the white paper said, peer-to-peer electronic digital cash, is that that's what Bitcoin was. I mean, I know the whole update with the whole BSV white paper and things like that, with the privacy section that they got in there and things like that. But the original 2008 white paper never talked about privacy. It only talked about peer-to-peer electronic digital cash. And that's all I harp on when it comes to these cryptocurrencies. That's why I always stay true to myself.
There's a section of privacy in the white paper. That's a portion of it.
What I'm saying is, though, the more of the white paper, I get all that with the privacy part, but when Bitcoin first came out, like I have the original white paper. Let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on.
Yeah, pull it up. Got all the points,
Hold on. Give me a second.
And then with the transparency too.
Yeah, because I remember 1 megabyte block size and everything like that. It showed the little diagrams and things like that. I remember all of that. So
no,
for me,
that's not in the white paper.
Yeah, let me go ahead and pull it up. Give me a second.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that.
Yeah, give me a second, because this was the 2008 white paper. I remember it came out in October.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the 1 megabyte limit was something that was enforced later after Bitcoin was already going. And it was like a short-term precautionary measure.
Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up, because I remember this verbatim. I had it. I remember reading the white paper 2008 before Bitcoin came out in 2009. Give me 1 second. I gotta download this. Give me a second here.
Yeah, I mean, I have it on my computer. I can look too. But are you going to share the screen?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I just gotta pull it up. I'm gonna share it right now. Okay, so here it is. All right, let me share screen. No, I don't need this. Okay, I'm gonna share the audio as well. Wait, how do I share this? What the heck? Hold on. There we go. Let me know if you can see it.
My computer, I'm still on the Where's George website. Let me see inside StreamYard.
It should be there.
Computer's super slow. Imagine that.
Okay. Okay, let me know when you can see it. And
oh yes, I see you there. Okay, add to stream.
Okay. All right, so this is the white paper that I have.
I see. Yeah.
And this is what it says: a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Satoshi Nakamoto. And this is from Bitcoin.org.
Mm-hmm.
And see, it says right here: a pure peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. Mm-hmm. So where does it say? And this is the thing I was talking about. This little diagram right here.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see. And it talks about the proof of work system. See, Adam Bax right there. His name's right there. And I'm trying to find, where does this say privacy?
It's there.
Ah, here it is.
Yeah.
Right here. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay. So let's see. The traditional banking model achieves a level of privacy by limiting access to information. Parties involved in trusted third party. When else all transactions publicly precludes this method, but privacy can still be maintained by breaking the flow of information in another place by keeping public keys anonymous. And that's the white paper I remember. Mm-hmm. But see, I must have missed number 10. I must have skipped over it all these years. Mm-hmm. But the fact that it says right there, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system, that's what I harp on. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people feel that Bitcoin, or BTC, does not work as originally stated in the white paper. That's why most people lost faith in it. Now, I'm not saying across the globe, but I'm saying here in America, because that's where you and I live at, most people have lost faith in Bitcoin. So they're adopting, because right now, if you go on coin cards and you look at the stats, Monero is the #1 used currency for peer-to-peer electronic payments right now in the United States. It's like at 60%. So Americans are adopting Monero as a peer-to-peer electronic cash, which they see BTC failed at. That's what they're looking at.
Right. And so that is also what BSV is saying, is that we have Bitcoin. That's why we say, oh, we're the genuine Bitcoin, because we're maintaining the integrity of the word Bitcoin through the years of, the samurais, and we're moving forward into the future where Bitcoin can be used, to its full potential. So yes, people may think, oh no, Bitcoin, the word, when they refer to what was misconstrued for so many years, people think, oh no, that's not working. And that is the whole point, is to just take the big megaphones, get everyone confused, misconstrue, and then to take over and maintain control. Because within the game or the system of Bitcoin, there is the decreasing subsidy. So you have to have the blocks full of transaction fees to ensure that incentive to the miners to the long term. So all of the Litecoin and the Stellar and all these different things that emerge to try to confuse the mass public about what this system is, even the narratives that were, put on it that kind of smothered the true sense of Bitcoin. These all are wearing down now. And so now I think that it's the time where people that are practical and that have, this unique opportunity in this moment in history are taking BSV blockchain and using it as the tool that it is for its full potential for people. And that, Nchain with their CBDC solution is a part of that. But all of the past where it was called this or that, people looking at the art, saying what they think of it, that's bound to happen. But like Daniel Crowitz says, Bitcoin is anti-fragile. So it only becomes stronger through the trials and tribulations. And this is like relevant to people on a personal level, because it can also be those challenges that can enable us to be stronger. So that's just a bit of what I have to say about that, Nitemare.
I got you. I mean, I still would rather pick Monero personally. It fits my lifestyle better.
Right.
It does transactions the way I want them to be, which is basically secure, private, no surveillance, no tracing, no tracking me. Monero is also fungible as well. So, I mean, Bitcoin is too. BSV's Bitcoin is, not BTC, obviously. But yeah, we can agree to disagree. I mean, with Monero, like I said, I know people look at it as cyber money. I know people look at it as darknet money. But like I said, Bitcoin was once a darknet money currency. Look at Silk Road. Look at all the history of Bitcoin. History tells us that unless it's adopted by the darknet, it is not money. It is not fungible. It's not anything. So all the trials and tribulations Bitcoin went to, yes, I agree. It has made it stronger. But I ultimately think it's going to be left up to the people. I think Monero will be back in the top 5 at some point, because as these CBDs continue to roll out, people are going to choose something that's private, untraceable, untrackable cash that they can use and don't have to worry about the governments coming after it. And that's what a lot of Chinese people are going to start doing here soon. They're going to start using Monero. As much as Bitcoin is private, they're going to choose an untraceable, untrackable cash system.
Wow. Well, one thing I'll say is that, Nitemare, you are a good friend, and I appreciate you so much. I'm grateful that we met in Miami and that, we continued the dialogue and, learning with each other. And I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation with you.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that, Rory. And I think you're a good friend as well. I'm glad. I just wish you had came to Miami for this event. I think you would have really enjoyed it. Not because you're a woman, but I think that you could have gave your perspective on, because they talked about Bitcoin, but I know what Bitcoin they were talking about. They were talking about BTC, not the original Bitcoin. So it'd have been nice for you to be there so you can educate these women on what Bitcoin really is. That's my point. That's why I really wanted you to come, because you're a real advocate for Bitcoin. And I know a lot of these women love Bitcoin, right? And they're in NFT and Web3. So I'm like, okay, well, Roy will be a great advocate here. Not only is she a woman, but she's a big standard for Bitcoin standard. Okay, well, she can come and educate these women on what Bitcoin really is.
That's so true. That's right. So I will continue to be active and to make podcasts and to improve my skills at developing different types of content that could reach a wider audience. Because you're absolutely right, Nitemare. It's like I have an obligation to participate, be in the arena. And I saw these girls, I tweeted about it earlier today. They were such sweethearts, and they were doing this fabulous podcast on YouTube, and it was only like 15 minutes long. They touched on the news. They were just lovely people, but they are just used. They're used. These good people are being used to just confuse people and lead them astray. And I'm sure these women, they don't realize they have the best of intentions, and they think that they're in the right place at the right time. But I know that they're not. And I want to, um, just be present and learn from them, learn from the best of them, the best of what they're doing. And somehow I believe that they will become aware of what Bitcoin is and what it can do, and how they can really genuinely help. But I think maybe because in BSV, people typically aren't paid. Like in my case, I'm working a day job. And then, when I have a chance, I can have a day off and I do a podcast. And then I'm learning as I go about that. Whereas a lot of these big organized groups that are really confusing the public and misleading the public about what Bitcoin is and what it can do, what it does do, they are paid. So they don't, they have a lot more time to make great content. So if anyone out there in BSV would like to pay me, then please do. And I can just be full-time creating original content. You can send me funds, I believe, at Handcash, or you could just maybe talk to me, reach out to me, and I will think about it because, I'm a free spirit, so I have my standards. But I could use some money so that I could just do this full time, So anyway, no shame. I'm putting it out there.
Hey, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, like the whole thing is that you and I believe in two different protocols. Like for me, like I said, I stick to my morals. Digital cash. I want to be private. I want to be able to be autonomous so nobody can track or trace me with my IP address. The thing about other cryptos, and the reason why I'm a big advocate for Doge is because, not because of Elon Musk, but because I say, okay, I look at the affordability part. I'm looking at the people who make $2 a day in a place like Iraq, Afghanistan, Iran. They don't make a lot of money. So they need a crypto, okay, that's going to give them value. Say, okay, hey, I make $2 a day. I'm going to take these $2. I'm going to put it in Doge. I'm going to go buy my groceries. I'm going to pay my bills. And I'm going to be good to go. That's the thing I look at. Now, I agree with the whole BSV thing. Making money on games, great. Doing Web3, doing NFTs to make money. I agree with all of that. I'm not against people making money.
The power of micro transactions or micro payments.
Yeah, microtransactions and micropayments. I'm not against any of that. But what I'm saying is, I'm always looking at the fact that, yes, you can buy any amount of Bitcoin up to 8 decimal points. I get all that. But would you really buy something up to 8 decimal points? Would you buy 8 decimal points of a car? Absolutely not. Would you buy 8 decimal points of an apartment? Absolutely not. So I'm looking at holding something that you hold that is whole, whole as in the word whole. And so something like Doge, everybody can afford a dime. Everybody in the world can afford 10 cents. That's not hard to afford.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm looking at it.
Yes, but a micro payment is way less than 10 cents. It's less than a penny. And that means that the fee is less than that. So you can handle all sorts of transactions that have never been done before. So that's relevant to all different economies around the world.
Well, Dogecoin has micropayments too. I mean, there's some of their payments are less than a penny too when you transact.
Right. So that's what we're talking about in BSV is that nano payments. The fees are less than a penny and they're at scale for the world.
So is Monero. So is Monero's less than a penny. It's scalable for the world as well.
All right. Well, we have to leave it there. I've got to go to the framing store now, Monero, and frame this beautiful calligraphy I was gifted years ago. And it's a wish that I send to both you and myself and anyone who may be watching. Wherever you go, you will succeed. So let us be successful. Yeah. And remember
Absolutely.
to check out, just go to twetch.com and get Twetch Green to support the Twetchers.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And also, you can follow me on Twitter at Nitemarekhawk. You can also follow me on Instagram at Nitemarekhawk. And you can also follow me on my podcast. If you don't like Spotify, you can go to Podvine. I'm still working on the Apple stuff, so stay tuned for that. I am working on getting on Apple Podcasts as well, because I know you Apple users have been hitting me up saying, what the hell? Like, you're not putting your podcast on Apple. Like, what's going on here? But if you don't like Spotify, you can go on Podvine. If you like Spotify, you can follow me on Spotify as well. Nitemarekhawk as well. I'll be dropping a new podcast on Saturday, 2 of them, news section, crypto news, and also gaming news as well. So stay tuned for that. If you have not checked out my news podcast, my first episode, please do. We are on season 2, folks. So make sure you check that out.
Thank you. I do look forward, now that I have headphones, to listening to them all, Nightmare. So thank you again and have a wonderful time there in Miami. And I hope you do take a train and go up to the Bitcoin Florida Citadel there with Kurt and Zach tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a response from either one of them. I haven't gotten a response yet, so hopefully I'll get a response here soon, and then I'll know if I can go up there or not.
Yeah, great. I know Zach was responsive on my original tweet. He said, hey, what's up? So if you just talk to him, because I know he's there for sure. He said it the other day that on a Twitter Spaces, he said he's there. And yeah, definitely follow up with that at Developing Zach.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yes. Okay, awesome. And then thank you and have a wonderful day. And we would love for you to comment down below. What do you think about CBDCs? And also, thank you for listening. Welcome back soon to Be in the Moment with Nitemarekhawk and me, Rory Zimmerman, again soon. Goodbye.
Yeah.